I'm Heath from Design to Rise. We're an architectural and industrial design company, and we're here today, Startup Grind, just to try to see if we can mingle with clients and hopefully grow our business and get new business.
Cool. So my name is Sophie. I'm the co-owner of the company named MAD for marketing, analysis and development, and I'm here for networking and meet peeps like me and try to exchange ideas.
Hi, my name is Tom Festus and I'm here from the Consulate General of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, and we're here just to get a better grip on what the Cape Town startup system is like. We're very engaged with it and we'd love to meet new people here, see what we can do for them, what they can do for us, and yeah, that's why we're here.
Tonight we're talking to Jess, we're hearing her amazing story, and she started out of a caravan with very little money. That's why she had this caravan, and she was able to actually build up. Transitioning from the film industry to running a small business with profits and loss and graphs and stock controls and staff. It's going to be incredible to hear how she did that, how she managed to do this. But along this journey, she managed to get some great awards and accolades, including finalist for Fair Ladies Woman of the Future Awards 2016, winner of the Western Cape, winner of the Western Cape Female Entrepreneur of the Year 2015, congrats with that, finalist in Cape Talk Small Biz, as well as runner-up in the CAP 40 Young Entrepreneurs Awards 2015. So these are really tongue-twisting awards. So guys, can you please all stand, give a massive, on your feet, there we go, very good way. Give a massive round of applause for Jessica Bonin! There we go. Awesome. Okay, so just be careful for the rolling chairs. Was it fun with these?
Fun space here.
There we go. Okay, so one of the first questions we'll always ask is, what was it like to be Jess Bonin at the age of 3? Tell us where you were born and your childhood.
I was born in Joburg, and at 3 I was probably obsessing over horses. I just transferred my obsession to tea, so I find it a lot more socially acceptable. People are easier to talk to when you have tea in hand. My childhood was filled with every kind of sport under the sun. I loved being active, and tea was a part of my childhood as well as into my adult life. So Joburg was a good playground for me, and I came to Cape Town because it has nature and outdoors. So
that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's incredible. And how long have you been in Cape Town for? 8 years.
Going on 13 years. 13 years.
There we go. We're also running a Twitter competition, which I've totally forgotten about. So this is what happens. We just got to this presentation again. And while we switch things around, as you can see, thanks to our teamwork, sponsors, thank you very much to all these partners. I told you all about the session. I'm so excited to get to the content. If you have a Twitter competition, so one, if you can briefly tell us about that. Sorry to stop the one.
I was worried you weren't going to get any winners.
I know. It's surprises.
At every Startup Grind event, every month, we run a Twitter competition for those who have tweeted the best tweets. So any of you who are active on Twitter, take out your phones, and this is the one event where you can tweet while the speaker's busy speaking. And the idea is that you need to share some kind of insight or some kind of lesson that you have learned from Jessica tonight while she's busy speaking. So if she says something that really captures you, say it in your own way, or reinterpret it, or give your own views on what you're learning tonight. And the winning tweets will then win the prize. Tonight we have 2 prizes, which will be a gift box from Jessica, which will contain some amazing teas. And the first prize is a gift box with an Ohm Revolution voucher. So Om Revolution is a yoga club, and you get a voucher where you can do some yoga with them. And the second prize is just a gift box. So either way, you get a good prize. To win the competition, use your own words and be creative with it. Sometimes the funny tweet wins, sometimes the very insightful tweet wins, sometimes the very deep and wise tweet wins. And to enter, tag all your tweets with Start CPT, and that gets you into the competition. Good luck.
There we go. Thank you very much. Awesome. And then if we do allow to ask questions. So please, we do have Wi-Fi. Go to workshop 17, the Wi-Fi code, workshop 17. It will ask you to connect and sign in. Go to where it says, are you attending an event? And fill in Start CPT, our hashtag, or lowercase. Start CPT or lowercase, for the username as well as the password. And this will give you Wi-Fi. Then you don't have to download anything, you just go to slido.com on your phone, slido.com, and this will allow you to ask questions. You can vote questions up, questions down. We will obviously be having roaming microphones, but if you are a bit shy, that's the best way to get a question asked. Okay, cool. All right, there we go, finally. Sorry about that. Okay, so good morning, Joe. Coming to Cape Town. Tell us about the caravan story.
So that was a joke. That's how it started.
Best way companies do.
Yeah, I was so desperate to change my situation. I had absolutely no passion. I was depressed getting up every morning. I was doing something that went against my very moral core, and I sort of decided to start this business. But
what were you doing? What was against your moral?
I don't know if anyone's familiar with the film industry or the commercial film industry, but essentially you're making something that manipulates someone to buy something. So the nature of how you do that is going to not be very moral. So I felt like I was constantly having to, you've got these big clients coming in from overseas, the guys that are taking the cut, or the guys that are working the hardest. You're always having to bargain people's prices, and it's all to give people a good time, and it's, you're blowing up buildings for toothpaste. So it was soul destroying, to say the least. You kind of scream first and ask later. It was that kind of thing. I studied, I majored in philosophy and drama, so I didn't have a sort of a business degree or anything like that, and I wanted to sort of find a skill that would allow me to start my own business, because that's where I realized I needed to be. I always had entrepreneurial tendencies, started
Were your parents entrepreneurial?
No. Yeah. I started my first business actually when I was 14, making jewelry.
Wow.
Selling jewelry, yeah. Did a couple of ATV market days. I sort of thought, okay, well, let me do a cafe, because I'd been waitressing from the age of 14. I thought, okay, well, at least I know how to do that, so that should be easy. And of course, I went down this huge rabbit hole, and next minute I needed, 750,000 Rand startup, and I was 27 and was like, okay, where do I think I'm going to get this money? And actually, I don't know what I'm doing, and do I want to be in debt, and all of these things, and I have to manage staff, and I just kind of decided to take it back to the simplest part of the idea, which was tea. That was the thing that stood out the most to me, and I thought, okay, well, how can I do tea, and how can I do it differently? And I looked at what I actually had available to me, which was 50,000 Rand of my SARS payout. And I was like, okay, well, I've got that. I can go travel, I can start a business. And I knew that, obviously you've got overheads and you need some kind of working capital. And 50,000 wasn't going to get me very far. So I sort of said to myself, okay, well, I can't have a brick and mortar. Like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to freaking buy a caravan. And I was like, actually, that's not such a bad idea. And I can travel around and sell tea from this caravan. And of course, I told everyone, and everyone thought I was absolutely mad. My mother pleaded and begged. Just get back to the film industry.
What have you done with your life? Where are you going, my child?
Shame she silently suffered. But there were a few people that actually responded to the idea quite well. I had a good group of hipster friends at the time, so of course they just jumped at the idea. Totally, they were very keen.
Best idea ever. What else around? Come on,
and it helped. So then I hopped online and I tried to find a really funky, fun caravan, and I found one in Krugersdorp online. And I phoned the guy, and he sort of, I think I phoned him 10 minutes after he posted, and he said, oh, I've got someone who's on their way to see it. And I was like, I'll take it. My aunt lives in Krugersdorp. I sent her to go and check out the caravan. And then I bought it for, I think it was 10,000 Rand. Yeah, 1975 Jurgen's Caravan, and he organized to get it towed. And then I got my Jessica creative decor on.
How did you enjoy the bohemian lifestyle?
It was good. It was really nice.
And
it was broke,
now, I mean,
but it was good.
6-7 years later, and you've got the staff, and you've got funding, and you've got. What do you compare? Which one do you prefer? I mean, obviously, pros and cons, but do you think that, I should have just stayed at the caravan, or are you glad that you've gone to where you are?
I'm definitely glad I'm where I'm at now. I'm one of those people that gets bored very easily. So once I figured something out, I immediately try to move on to the next thing. My operations managers had to, and my investors now have had to kind of like run me in. Otherwise, I'm in 20 different places at once.
Yeah.
While
I think we're on top of this stuff.
Yeah, it's a problem. So yeah, I had to rein myself in. I mean, the caravan was beautiful, and it was really amazing to be able to, it allowed me an opportunity to directly engage with people. It provided this space where people wanted to have this new experience, which essentially was takeaway tea, and it was good quality tea. And so there's so much magic that can happen when you provide a space, and tea being an amazing catalyst for that, where conversation can happen. And I'm a people person, so for me it was really beautiful. I really regret not actually keeping a journal of all the conversations and the amazing experiences that I had just through that caravan. So it really was the heart of the business, and the whole business has been sort of built from that beautiful place. But it was hard. I mean, in the beginning, I still did trance parties. And you're sitting there serving tweaked out people tea at like 4 in the morning, and you have to go to try sleep until like 7 in the morning. My whole tent is vibrating in some like intense dark trance, and I'm like walking in the tent. It's so cold. So yeah, I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. It's a hard grind. Yeah, and I was towing the caravan myself and doing all the things myself. So it's it's a different kind of it's a different kind of work. Like every stage, it's relative challenge. So I can say the sort of unit of measurement of what was challenging for me then is maybe the same now, but it's completely different and it's more expansive. But it was definitely a little more carefree.
So how did you go from being that caravan, and it's very difficult because you have to sell a lot of tea to be able to raise enough money to become a brick and mortar store. So how did you do that transition?
That was, in the beginning I was doing 1 market a week. It was the You, Me and Everyone market, which was a hipster market. So I was accepted because in the beginning I approached the biscuit mill and they weren't keen. There was the marketplace ago, they never heard of this food truck concept. So it was a little bit risky for them. So I went to this, and I think I was making between 300 and 600 Rand a shift, like once a weekend, and I was still freelancing at the time, so I realized I could actually make money with this. So I had to look at the what's the next viable option. I was packaging the tea and selling from the caravan, so I was scale. Yeah. So I thought, okay, let me go around and see if I can, get other people to buy the tea. So I did a couple of door-to-doors to your more sort of niche delis, like Giovanni's and Andiamo and Carlucci's and all of those people who would take the kind of artisanal product, because still people couldn't understand this concept of loose leaf or full leaf tea. Then fresh back in 5 roses. Dust.
Now we know what you said.
It's like comparing, like True Coffee to Rick Coffee. This is no comparison. Just putting it out there. So I, and then of course we were buying small little bits, but it wasn't moving quickly. And then I get the odd restaurant and set them up, and it just still wasn't moving enough for me.
Okay, so just stop there. I mean, you had to package it. Where did you go and just buy some boxes, or did you go and look for special boxes and put it in nicely?
Yeah, I
just buy stuff from Pick and Pay or from a V&A, or how did you package it?
I went on such a mission in the beginning. I mean, I had no idea where or how to look, but I happened to find myself in Maitland somewhere, and I found this a supplier that was importing a lot of stuff from China, and they had all these beautiful mason jars, the little flip-top ones.
Okay.
Before it became more trendy. And I just bought, he had, I don't know, a couple of thousand left, and I literally just bought them all off him, and I would sit there and put tissue paper inside, and like I had 3 or 4 different kinds of labels, and the tags I'd cut out and punch and put, this was like half an hour for 1 tea, sitting in my lounge doing this thing. So so I had these beautiful jars, and then obviously I realized I could sell it to restaurants to actually serve, so then I got bigger bags, I just found suppliers and packaged it, and that's how I would distribute it there.
So then you weren't able to move much,
So
No, so I obviously was sitting there trying to rack my brain what to do, and I went to a beautiful game reserve with my family, and I was sitting on the deck drinking dust, and I thought to myself, this is ridiculous, I should be drinking my tea, I should be drinking my tea. So I thought, okay, well I want to approach game lodges. So and Beyond, which used to be the I think it was CC Africa before, so I got a hold of them. I came up with this idea because I knew that they had lodges all over Africa. We had 26 lodges at the time, and one was in Tanzania, one was in Kenya, one was in, wherever. And I decided to pitch to them that I'd create a unique blend for each area that they were in that represented that area. So I pushed this idea, they absolutely loved it, and now I had to learn how to blend tea, because I was just buying it from someone before. So I had to learn how to do it. So then I went and I found myself like spice people, and I bought this sort of loose tea. I was importing it from a third party in the UK who was obviously getting it from the farm, so I was going like fifth down the line and then getting it. So
it's quite expensive, and the margins were
very small initially. I mean, they're still
small. They were minute, now they're small.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, I flew to Joburg. I had a beautiful Tanzanian one. I went and I researched what are the spices and herbs and fruits and flowers for this country and that country, and went and I looked at all of their their lodges online and what is the feel of that, and I tried to encapsulate that in the tea. And they absolutely loved it. And
so you didn't sleep much during this time?
No, I still don't sleep much. It's a problem. And so I pitched this to them, and they ordered, I think it was near 300 kilograms of tea, as well as a whole bunch of teapots. I ended up making this training video for them, and essentially that massive order was my startup capital. That I was able to then take and go, okay, well, I've got this money, I can use this as an opportunity to grow the business a bit more. So I thought, okay, well, first things first, I need to stop packing tea in my lounge. And you get that somewhere else, because there's only so many reruns of Days of Our Lives you can watch while you're packing tea. So I was doing a lot of work at field office in town, opposite Truth, Prestwich Street. There was a guy there that would always come and do work there, and I was telling him that I wanted to find a little space. We have no idea where to start. And he said, "Oh, you must into the Woodstock Industrial Centre. They're changing the whole thing." So I went there, and they were turning it into what is now the Woodstock Exchange. But this was before it was built. And for what I had in mind as a budget, obviously I'd done a budget, and I figured out how much I needed and what I would need. The guy that I met, Greg Beadle, he said to me, "Well, don't you want a tea shop as well?" And I kind of laughed. He was like, "No, that's like my 3-year plan. What are you talking about?" And he was like, "No, we have these, shop fronts, and the whole concept is to do this." And it was for the same price that I had budgeted as a factory.
Okay.
So I thought, well, I might as well just take some of that money and push it into having a tea shop. And then I've got the little factory at the back and the tea shop in the front. And this way I can also test what I'm doing. This gives me, with the caravan people, where can we see you on Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday? And it was difficult for me to, keep a consistent interaction with my market. Then I started the Woodstock Exchange, and that allowed me to, do more regular sales. Of course, the first 3 months I was in a construction site, and I was like the only shop open, serving tea to the builders. It was great.
Builders tea, right?
Yeah, exactly. It was a very peaceful environment with hammers and all sorts of things going on outside. But and then just, slowly building it bit by bit. Then it was a year later, I managed to get my first employee, and then, for like 2 days a week, and then I could pop out and actually go do more door-to-door sales. But also people would notice me, because now the Woodstock Exchange became a thing, and I was still doing the caravan on the weekends and festivals and all of these things.
You've been to a lot of festivals. What is the coolest festival you've been to?
The Flamjangle Tea Party, obviously, because it was a tea party, and I had tea.
It worked.
It was great. And there were children there too.
So that you went to the, I believe you went to the Impact Amplifiers.
Yes.
How did you get in, and what was your experience?
So I met Max, who's one of the founders of Impact Amplifier, through his sister Catherine, who owns Petulek. Petulek used to have a small little store in the Woodstock Exchange, and we did yoga together, and she would come for tea every day, and we would sit and have tea and talk. And then she'd introduced me to her brother, and when we'd all had dinner, I was obviously talking a bit about my business, and he put me in touch with Westgrow to start doing some export trade missions.
Were you exporting at that time?
No, I had no.
You were only importing and
Yeah, exactly. And sort of distributing locally. I mean, I hardly like made the leap to Joburg and really I was like, oh great, China, let me go sell tea there because I can. And yeah, so anyway, I met with the guys at West Grow. I'd done an application and then they accepted me to go to Shanghai for one of the trade shows. So I phoned Max to say thank you, and then he asked me, how's everything going? And I sort of explained to him, what was happening and where my aims were and what I was focusing on. And a big part of what I was doing at the moment was, at that time, was converting everything, or as much as possible, to sort of ethical, organic, sustainable. I met a co-op that had come and actually visited my store. They'd seen me in some magazine and they came. They were bringing, some of their farmers into town so they could see the workers that they were making and where it was going. And that just sort of gave me the first avenue because I was still going through like fourth party companies. Anyway, so he said, well, we're doing this accelerator program, you should apply. So I kind of went and I looked and I sort of forgot about it. And I think I remember the deadline was like 12 o'clock on whatever day. And it was like 10 o'clock and I was like, oh my God, I forgot this thing, I must do this thing. And I went and I applied and I got it in on the minute. And then I got called back. I made the shortlist and then...
Did you think you would get in or were you just like...
No, I didn't think so. I just kind of, because in your mind, like everybody else is so much better, more worthy, Now in my head I was like, I'm just selling tea and it's not like, I'm not changing energy systems in the world.
I'm not changing the world.
I'm not changing the world. I don't have some big tech or something, But I've since come to learn that food security is an entire other really important thing. And then I've got chosen as one of the 12 companies to be on this incubator program. And that was 5 months of the most grueling, intense, and
you had to still run your business and everything.
Yeah. So they worked that every 2 weeks we'd have a full day that we would go and have, whatever their program was. And then we had homework as well.
So do you think it's a good thing to go through accelerators?
Absolutely. Oh no, it was invaluable for my business. I mean, as an entrepreneur, you're often doubling in the galaxies. And for someone like me who doesn't have business background, I mean, I'm an entrepreneur in the sense that I have a million ideas and I see things before other people see them. It doesn't mean I'm like a good business manager. I've had to learn how to be that. I'm maybe like a 5 out of 10, and like a year ago I was like a 2. So you're still learning that. So for someone who doesn't understand those big things, and because as soon as the trajectory starts happening, you're just juggling all these balls, and you don't have time to sort of look back and go, okay, well, there's that thing in your life.
Analyze it and go,
completely.
This is the problem right here.
Totally, so sometimes your foundations are really rocky, and I mean, what I've learned again and again, I'm constantly having to break down my house and build it again, break it down and build it again, because there was something that was tweaky in my foundations. So what the incubator really did was help me understand my business and also understand what I was doing and where am I going and what are the steps that are going to get me there, and while giving advice and what the good steps are. But because what was particularly invaluable about this incubator program is it was based on this impact business model, which was essentially what I was trying to achieve, but I had no idea that there was even something for this. So for those of you who don't know what the impact business model is, essentially it takes the parts of capitalism that work and the parts of an NGO that work, and it merges the two, sort of does away with all the bad of them, so you're aligning your value system with your profits. So it's just another way of making an impact business profitable, essentially. So it allowed me to fix all those parts of my business that I really wanted to be sound and good in terms of the value system that I had, like the farmers that I work with, what I'm paying them, how am I working with my staff, how am I building them up. I came from the film industry where I had to treat everybody like crap and everybody was suffering, and I didn't want this thing. I wanted to make everybody happy, in my business and everywhere, and this helped me do that essentially in a nutshell. So that was what was, I think, so incredible, to see how I could make something that's got really tiny margins work in a very impactful way.
But question, what do you think was your biggest challenge when you first started your business?
Being taken seriously. I think, when people saw the caravan and the fact that I'm a woman, it was very much like, oh bless, she has a little craft project. And I'm not even joking, people were like, oh, that's very sweet, like men would come running when they saw me like towing this caravan. Oh God, no, woman, please stand back, let me hitched this thing for you. I was like, you don't know what you're doing, stay back. So really, it was very difficult being taken seriously because I had this caravan that had, like little gypsy bells and things hanging from it, so I get it. But
you understood why they thought that, but still, not cool, guys, not cool.
Totally, but yeah, it was being taken seriously, which made me, of course, have to be serious with myself because I'm a very competitive person. So when someone comes with this thing of doubt, or I see someone's like questioning what I'm doing, immediately I'm like, okay, I'll show you. And it was like I tricked myself into it the whole time because I would wake up obviously sweating in the middle of the night, freaking out what I was doing. I'm selling tea from a caravan. Like, when did I think this was a good idea? And my mother's in the background and all these things, and it was having to take myself seriously, essentially. So.
Where is the caravan now? This is the question.
She's on a sabbatical. Oh. She needs a little bit of a spruce up, and
unfortunately, you're going to spruce it up and bring it back, and
yes, we're going to make her come back, definitely.
Yes, I love it. Okay. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions? Okay, we'll come back to it. Oh, there we go. Just get the microphone here. So while that's going to, I'll just keep the question. I was going to ask a question. What is your biggest failure?
Singular? Failure?
Okay. What's your biggest failure? So this was a failure. Thank you, Rory.
Tough question.
Yeah, tough questions. Okay, can you hear me at the back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can show you that my drama degree did pay off in the end. How am I projecting at the back there? Yeah.
Get in back. Okay. Microphones testing 1, 2, 1, 2. I think I was just switch it to this one. Okay. So, what was your
I think my biggest failure was thinking that failure was failure.
Essentially, it was that thing of it's the misunderstanding of failure. Failure is the only way that you learn, and it's absolutely necessary. Of course, you don't want to keep stepping on the same stones again and again, but you have, sometimes that stone is sitting in the road and it's got several different sides to it, so you have to learn all the different sides of that stone, so that when you do eventually spot it, you're like, you're upside down and I've stepped on you before, I'm not going to do that again.
Question, Rebecca.
Hi. So I just wanted to ask 2 questions. Thesis related. How is the drought and climate change affecting the tea industry in general? And then 2, I wanted to ask, obviously now blended teas are a thing and stuff, but I think 2-3 years ago, the general mindset was, 5 roses, and that's a serious thing. We take it seriously. So how did you go about changing mindsets towards tea needs and stuff? How did you change mindsets?
I'm going to start with that question if I can. So the caravan was an incredible way for me to do that because it was this really bizarre thing that people saw, and all of a sudden it broke that barrier between the consumer and trying something brand new. So people now wanted to actually try the caravan, try the tea because they got to have the experience of the caravan. And through that I was able to figure out what are all the mental problems that people have when it comes to loose leaf tea, so that I could understand, what's getting in the way. Okay, well they want convenience. In people's heads, tea bags are easy, they're quick, and there you go, you move on. But that means that you compromise on flavor, you compromise on quality. Okay, so how can we maintain the quality and the flavor, but do it in a way that's convenient for people? If I could achieve that in the caravan and sell, 2,500 cups of tea and rocking the daisies over a weekend, anyone can do it at home. So the caravan really was that amazing way for me to figure out how to do that. And then it was educating people through social media, through whatever it is, having the shop, going into restaurants and going, okay, you have this service that you're offering, and you're not serving instant coffee, so why on earth would you compromise and serve tea bags? Oh no, but it's inconvenient. Okay, well let me show you how it's not. I can do it for 5 minutes. I'll train the whole staff, and you can see how easy it is. So it required a hell of a lot of effort to do that, and I've been quite ahead of the trend. So I was doing this like 6 years ago. I was selling takeaway tea before Starbucks even had Teavana, and Teavana's taken off. I think it's grown 10 times what Starbucks did in the beginning. And there's, I mean, a million tea places that you could do, and you know, I'm one of 3 tea bars in the world, you know, doing the tea the way that I'm doing it. So I had to kind of like pull myself back a bit and okay, I'm actually a little bit ahead of the curve here. People aren't ready for that yet. So overseas they might be ready. Here we're still 3 years behind the trends there. So it's having to adapt that and make it, I guess, accessible for people. So we're taking that traditional and we're adapting it to suit a modern market, and that's what you have to do. You have to adapt. Now people won't question having a good cup of coffee. Everybody's got their machine at home, and they'll invest in whatever it is because that's people understand and they can experience and they can taste it. At the end of the day, it's the flavor and the quality, and people don't want to. Once you've tried, you know, people come to me like, oh, green tea, it's so bitter, and it's just something that's not how it's supposed to be because you're making it wrong. There's not enough of me. You know, it's like simple tweaks because we don't know tea. You know, we haven't been taught tea properly. And as soon as you shift that then and you taste how green tea should taste, then you're never going to do it another way. And then you find a ritual in the loose leaf tea. You know, it doesn't mean it has to be an hour-long ceremony. It can take you 2 to 5 minutes. But you can still get the excellent quality down. And then it's finding whatever people need to use it. So mug infuses, and okay, they're not happy with the little ones because the rooibos falls out. So, you know, so it's trial and error. And I'm still kind of figuring it out, if that makes any sense. Because again, as soon as I think I know, I know nothing. And in terms of the drought, it's a very frustrating topic for me because rooibos, for example, is this incredible plant that is part of this ecosystem. And our fynbos, as we know, is completely unique in the whole world. And what it does is there's this continuous symbiosis that's happening. So the rooibos plant, for example, it's a legume. It's got little nodules on its root system, which allows it to convert nitrogen in the air into a usable substance in the soil. It doesn't do that for itself. It does it for all its community plants. So all the plants around it thrive because rooibos has this root system. So that is what helps it when there are fires and the plants come back out. It's because of all the legumes that have helped, you know, repropagate the plants. When there's a drought, it allows it to adapt to climate change, and it keeps the soil strong. So what's happening now is, of course, we're wiping massive lands of fynbos away, and we're doing the monocrop thing. We're going, oh, look, this is more efficient. Let's just plant lines of rooibos. What's happening is the plant is de-evolving and it's losing nutrients and it's lasting 3-4 years. And now in the droughts, of course, they've lost so much crop. The price goes up, and it's the most inefficient way of doing it. So we work with guys that do sustainably wild growing because we're using plants that are 30 to 50 years old that are grown in the mountains. They are full of nutrients. It's amazing, and we're actually showing now with this drought, look, we haven't lost any plants, but you've lost like a quarter of your crop. So it is a problem, and it's not to say that there isn't die-off. There's definitely die-off, but better farming practices help everything adapt to climate change if you can just get with the program there. So yeah, it's been quite bad for everybody, but I think people cry. It's been bad while the rooibos market has taken off remarkably. So it's kind of come at the same time where people, and this isn't the first time that it's happened, where there's been a huge drought and the demand has spiked, and what happens is people plant a whole lot of extra and then all of a sudden they've got too much. Then the rains come or whatever it is, so we've learned the lesson this time. Did that answer your question? Okay, long-winded.
I was actually in America, there was early year for the conference, and I was able to walk into a shop like a normal Costco's or whatever they had. It was tea standing right there. It was like, this is awesome in America. I saw a hand shoot up right at the back. Yes, there we go.
Hi, I'm Mary Jean and I work at the Cape Chamber and been on email.
Yes, hi.
Yeah, hi. And you mentioned you were exporting to Japan.
We're in that process. We're just waiting for our organic certification to be stamped and sent through to us.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to ask, are there any other markets? Are you selling tea to India, tea to China?
So we actually are trademarked in China. I've decided to take a step back from China because it's very difficult with prices. They want to, you were saying $100 for a ton and they want you to take 5. So I haven't found a partner in China yet that I'm happy with. We've just sent a whole bunch of samples off to Korea, and it's been picked up really well. So we're actually in the process of waiting for our first order to come through there. We've exported a little bit to Amsterdam. My investors, my partners are actually Dutch. Yes. So yeah, and I'm trying to sort of Malaysia as well. We've had a lot of interest there, but I'm trying to again focus myself one market at a time, because but all of them are actually, Japan's very lucrative, Korea's very lucrative, so each one of those is like 10 times South Africa.
But that's already, I mean, tea's been in Japan for years and stuff. We've got the rituals and that. So
well, but the green. Okay, so rooibos is technically not tea. It's a herb. So the tea is a plant. It's called Camellia sinensis, and how they process that plant is how you get different teas. So your black, your green, your oolong, they're all different levels of oxygen. Just like with wine, you get the Chenin Blanc or Sauvignon Blanc. I'm not a wine person, someone help me. It's from different levels of fermenting. So tea is the opposite process. It's oxidation, but it all comes from one plant. And you can take 2 seeds from the same mother plant, put one in India and one in Japan, you'll get 2 different plants because it is so sensitive to its environment. So you've got hundreds of different variants of tea that all come from the same plant. And how it's processed and how it's done is different.
So while
I was just wanting to say, I really salute you for what you've done.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the Muslim and halal countries, you're heading there too?
Yes, so we are halal certified, and we're in comms with Malaysia, and therefore Singapore.
So while Mary-Jean is still standing up there, just by the way, the Cape Chamber we're busy hosting the Design for Future Living. She's been handing this out, so you guys please get involved with this. You're able to actually explore your startup. If you're under R1 million, if you get under, is it under R1 million, is that right?
It's under R1 million turnover, and then the Chamber will match you rand for rand for your stand.
How's that?
Yeah.
So get some exposure, some market. So please chat to Mary-Jean at the back there. Question in the front here.
Yes, this hand was up
oh, was
a long time ago.
Sorry. Thank you for checking on that.
Hi. My name is Lee Esterhazen, and I have 2 questions. The one is, would engaging with children and tea drinking, in terms of loose leaf tea, help to accelerate the culture change around tea? And then the second question actually has just been taken off your screen, but wanted to underline a question that had already come up, which was tea's renowned for having a bad reputation when it comes to ethical trade and working conditions.
Yes.
And I was wondering how your business model and your own supply chains were confronting that challenge.
Thank you, good question. So that's where the whole impact part of our business comes in. So in terms of, so essentially what we do is we support small-scale farms that have community-based initiatives. We pay a premium to our farms, so we go beyond fair trade. I'm suspect of the whole fair trade thing in my experience. So I prefer to go and see the farms myself. So I have visited my buko farms, my honeybush farms, my rooibos farms. I have direct relationships with the people that I work with, and I understand what's going on in the picture there. And I've just, last year, went to Sri Lanka to go and meet with the farms there. The farms that we're working with are the only carbon neutral farms in Sri Lanka, and they have the most incredible community programs that are going on, and particularly with women, which I like. And we get a lot of our herb, spices and fruit from there, and we work with food forests where they're dealing with families that have had these forests or these pieces of land for over 200, 300 years. So while I found them online, I'm not one to just believe any piece of paper, and that's why I like to go and see it myself. Before that I was in Japan, and I went to go and find tea farms there, and that's why I found my matcha and other ones, because I've visited directly the factories and the farms and the people that I work with. So that's part of my I guess my strategy is to go and see who I'm working with and make sure that they tick all the boxes, because it's very important for me, because I also understand that tea is a very absorbent plant, and it reflects back to you. You taste what you taste. So yeah,
it's high on our priority to do that. We've managed to just in the last year convert from, I think we were at 15% organic and sustainable to now we're at 90% organic and sustainable. So I'm rolling it out per country as we go along. To answer that question. And in terms of the children, absolutely. I've noticed more and more in the last, I'd say, 2-3 years that I've got a younger and younger market. Kids just they're naturally going towards tea. It's as if it's an obvious thing for them, and I find it very easy to engage with them on it because they just resonate with it so well. They want. My friend has a daughter. She's 4 years old, and I bought her this little like Chinese set that's got a whole thing, and she will not drink like any other tea other than loose, and she's 4. So yeah, I would really. It's one of the things I really, when I've got a little more time and I'm able, is to go and see what I can do, because obviously tea's got an entire mindfulness and practice. You know, beyond it being my business, it's my practice. So when I went to Japan, I also went to go learn about wabi cha, which is the way of tea. And you know, I spent time with tea masters, and I learned the traditional matcha ceremony. And there's an entire Zen philosophy and cultural aspect there of mindfulness that is, you know, part of what tea actually does. The physiological effects of it bring you to that present moment, and in the actual practice and art of making it does that. And I think that that's really important for the youth, you know, in terms of people understanding how, you know, how do you attain serenity in order for you to actually like tackle your day. That's what the samurai did. They wouldn't go into battle without drinking tea. That's why they're such formidable warriors, because they understood serenity and being in the present moment. And tea helps with that, and I think that that's really beneficial to children, especially if they don't have the support at home or whatever it is. So I'd love to be able to, for that aspect, get in there sometime.
Okay. What I think 2 more questions. Ross in the front here, and then at the back, and a very persistent hand at the back.
Hey, Jess.
Hello.
I just wanted to know, in terms of when you started, like you were obviously running the business by yourself at the beginning.
At what point did you realize that you needed to start like getting people on board, and was it easy for you to delegate?
No, it was really hard to delegate. Did everybody hear that question? No. Okay, no. So essentially it was, I started the business by myself. At what point did I get to where I realized I needed help, and how easy was it for me to delegate? So I think it was about 2 and a bit years before I actually brought someone on board, and I brought them on part-time, and it was really difficult. I've actually only in the last, since I brought my operations manager on board, she's my right-hand lady and completely rocks our factory, I couldn't actually let go fully. It was very difficult. You know, it's your child, you raise them, you know, you want someone else, but that becomes detrimental. I learned that the more you hold on to it, the more you actually stifle it. And everybody has something beautiful to contribute. So if you allow someone, what I want to create, you know, I didn't just create the business for me to blossom and grow and create and mold my own life. I want other people to do that as well. So within the context of the business, it's going, okay, well, where can you find your place, and how do you want to grow in this, and how can we support that? And then it becomes that reciprocity that happens. And when I can let go and trust someone to do that while obviously guiding, you know, there's a beautiful thing that happens there. But yeah, it's definitely been a big challenge for me to let that go and trust that people, you know, because obviously you're the one that's spearheading it, you're the one that's got the vision, and you're the one that well, it relies on you, and if something messes up, it's your fault. It doesn't matter if it's someone else that's done it. If something goes wrong, it's your fault. So making sure you find the right people, that's also a very difficult thing, is to find the right people.
So just if you go to Instagram, please follow White on Ross. There it is. It is amazing. Like, seriously, guys, follow White on Ross. There we go.
Yeah. Thanks, G.
Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, at the back. Yes.
Which persistent hand?
No. This one person, then a persistent.
I'm interested in the different types of tea you have and the medicinal properties of them.
So at the moment we've got about 44 different blends, and that is me harnessing myself.
The operations manager has made me let go of many, but they're all on standby and they will be released soon.
They're just in the nursery being nurtured. So
We essentially have rooibos, honeybush, buku, which are our three more popular local fynbos herbs. They were used originally by oldest people over 2,000 years ago, and they would eat it because it would have, the rooibos for example, they would eat because it would have incredible nutrient properties that would allow them to go on their hunts for a couple of days without eating. It also helped breastfeeding mothers, kids with colic, very good for stomach. Honeybush, rooibos has a very particular antioxidant in it that you don't find anywhere else in any other plant, and it's an essential antioxidant, amino acid, which means that our body needs it and can't make it. So they're finding that it's assisting a lot with the immune system. They've been doing these tests where people are on ARVs, which is supposed to help them with their cell count. They're finding that if people are drinking, the concentrate I think is equivalent to like 6 really strong cups of rooibos a day, is having more of an effect than the ARVs are on the immune system, which is quite amazing. Honeybush has an incredibly high vitamin C content. They're finding that it's really good with cancer. It's helping, they see the kills off the cancer cells, the malignant cells. Buku has been our oldest export. We've been exporting it since the 1700s. It's antibacterial, antifungal, antibiotic, antiseptic. They were using it in World War I on the field as basically a topical antiseptic, and it is by the Britannica or Waka Waka as an official medicine. So it's really amazing. So it does that for your skin. Imagine what it does inside. And again, that was the San people used to believe that buku was like the rain, so it was their version of yin and yang, that it had both the ability to pacify and to invigorate at the same time. So they say that buku will invigorate you if you need it, or it will calm you if you need it. And then, of course, when you go to the Camellia sinensis, all of your teas from China, Japan, or from Asia, the Chinese discovered tea, and were first the man who discovered the Chinese medical system discovered tea. So it's been a medicine for over 4,000 years. It's used in Ayurveda in India. In Japan, they also use it in their medicine, and of course each one is different. So Chinese medicine believes that you have different constitutions in your body, so you're either it's damp or it's hot or whatever, and each tea has their own one. So green tea is maybe too damp, and if you've got a damp system, you should have white tea. And then of course you now take all the herbs and spices and you pair it together.
So the recipe is 6 cups of rooibos a day, 3 cups of honeybush.
I got to the point where I was
now for the final question.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously. Okay, can you show us? Okay, can everyone just keep quiet, please? Thank you.
So I wanted to know, I don't know if I should first say that what I used your tea for, or if I should just ask you, what do you think about kombucha?
Yeah.
And I got you, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, it's yerba mate. So I actually have your yerba mate, and I am currently making kombucha with it. I'm very excited to see how it comes out. So yes, what is your opinion on using your tea for that? And do you like it, and have you done it?
Yes, I did attempt to make some kombucha myself, but my scobies got like way out of hand, and then I didn't know what to do, and I panicked, and I just gave them to someone else. I'm better with brewing the tea itself, but yeah, I've drunk the kombucha, and I think it's really incredible. I felt the benefits, but I think one has to be very careful with the sugar. So for me, it's not necessarily the tea and the SCOBY, it's the sugar content that goes in there, because I've done tests on it myself. I was given, I had this amazing woman come from Netherlands last year with this program called POOM, and they send out an industry professional to come and assist you in your business and help you figure some things out. She brought me this amazing little contraption where you can measure alcohol and sugar content by dropping some liquid onto this thing, and it gives you the number. And I took a local kombucha brand, and I was just thinking to myself, can we just test it? And it came out at like 26, and the legal limit I think is 20. Coca-Cola's at 20. So there was a lot of sugar in that. So I don't think that it actually degrades the sugar. If you're tasting sweet, it's sugar. But I know that everything else that's in there is really good. And the yerba mate is amazing. We've actually got a meta mate. It comes from wild yerba mate plants. They are helping bring back the rainforest at the moment, so it's got a much smokier, denser taste to the rest of the other yerba mate that we have in the past. And yerba mate is amazing because it's got a very high calcium and magnesium content in it, as well as, I think it's got 3 different vitamin Bs. So they find that people with osteoporosis in Argentina who drink it, they find that there's way less osteoporosis in Argentina because they drink so much yerba mate, and it's got so much calcium and magnesium in it. Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Thank you. Marwan, are you ready?
I am.
Okay. Before we get to that, okay, so a lot of business insights as well as tea insights. Thank you very much for that. Just one last question is, what was the most exciting time in your career so far?
I think when I opened my tea bar, because the tea bar was the first idea. And I opened that a year ago, and it was 5.5 years into the business that I actually, I wanted to be the Vita of tea. And the Caravan was my way to get there. And so when I opened the tea bar and I finally had this takeaway tea place, that took me 5.5 years to get to, while going every other avenue that's possible. I think that was a really big, amazing moment for me. But there's no end to a good thing, and the best is yet to come. It just keeps on surprising me in an amazing way.
Thank you very, very much for your time tonight.